Our first meeting this morning is actually the Mesa Housing Services Governing Board. And so we welcome Board Member Gary Nelson. Gary, welcome. Also, we're missing Mr. Whitaker, Mr. Freeman. I know Mr. Freeman is recovering from surgery, so he's excused, and we knew he wasn't going to be here. The first item on this agenda is items from citizens present. Ms. Mickelson, has there been any requests to speak in this meeting? Okay, thank you. Item number 2 is approval of the minutes from the prior meeting. Is there a motion to that effect? Thank you, Mr. Luna and Mr. Thompson. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Item 3 on this agenda is the presentation and discussion on the city's housing choice voucher programs, including utilization, funding, and expenditures. Welcome, Mary.
Hi, good morning, Chair and board members. Thank you for having us this morning. We haven't been here since June, so we'll just give you a quick update of how things have been going with housing. Just a couple of things we're going to go through is our 2019 updates, how we've done, and then the goals for 2020. That's interesting. We have to say 20 now, not 19. So this first slide shows what we did is I changed this up a little bit. And so this shows all of our vouchers lumped together. So the blue line is our unit months leased. That means how many units we leased each of the month. And we did it by percentage. The red line is our expenditures for our rent payments, our housing authority payments. And so you can see that they kind of go align each other. So we were down a little bit with our utilization, and there was a couple things for that. We received 28 new mainstream vouchers, and we started leasing those up in March, and so it takes a little bit of time to get through that process. And then the family unification voucher program we also received, and those are the ones that we worked directly with the Department of Child Safety. We receive referrals from them for families that are at risk of losing their children or may have their children out of their home and need housing to have the children reunited with them, or it's for youth that have aged out of foster care. And so we've done really well with that. Takes a little bit of time. We've received about 40 referrals, and we've leased up 13, and we have about 6 out there searching for a unit. So we are doing that. So that made our numbers a little bit lower. Our referrals for VASH have gone up. We have received 41 referrals in 2019, and that's compared to 14 in 2018. So the referrals are coming in, but the lease-up rate is still just slowly increasing. This is the highest we have been in 2.5 years. We're at 139 in a unit. So while we're talking about VASH, I just wanted to bring up our local HUD office has reached out to us and asked us if we would be willing to give a few of our vouchers to Arizona Department of Housing. Arizona Department of Housing has a new complex that they are building, or I'm not sure if it's all the way built, but they're building in Prescott. And they're going to project base vouchers to that complex. And they're short vouchers to fill that complex. So this is all preliminary, nothing's finalized. They'll have to go to HUD headquarters, but would we be willing to give them some so they can fully lease there? Staff feels comfortable giving 31 vouchers to them of our 191 because we haven't been up to 160 in 2.5 years. So that would help our utilization, and also that would help, at least we're getting veterans housed. Maybe not in Mesa, but we're getting homeless veterans housed. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention to just see if we're comfortable with that.
Mr. Luna.
So thank you for that presentation. So what if in a couple of years we get an increase of veterans needing housing? Will we be able to recover those, or once we give them away, they're gone and there's no opportunity to recover them?
We couldn't recover them, but about every 2 years, we are able to apply for additional vouchers. We have not done that in the last, 4 years because we haven't totally utilized hours that we have now. So of course, if our utilization gets up and we start filling those, we would apply for additional
And
vouchers.
is there opportunities for emergency vouchers, for example, if we get an influx of veterans needing housing?
No, but there's a couple things we could do.
Okay, so there's some.
So there are some veterans, and Gary is one of them, that are graduated from case work, meaning that they're not needing that casework assistance from the VA. We can give them a regular voucher and
Okay.
keep them housed and then have those available for the homeless veterans. We haven't done that yet because we wanted to keep our utilization up.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yes.
Jen?
Will this, if we give, those vouchers, will that affect our allotment for the next year? Will they say, well, you didn't use them last year, and so then,
No, once you're allocated your vouchers, they're yours. As long as I have been here, we've never, ever lost any vouchers. So no, we would not lose that. We would lose the admin fee and the HAP money for those vouchers, but you're not getting admin fee if you're not using them, and they're not gonna give you, you're not paying rents for them.
okay, so it won't affect any future allotments? Okay, thank you.
I have a question, Mary. Did you have a question?
Yeah.
Frankie, go ahead.
So the 31, where would that put us to the current number? Will we have some additional ones if some folks request in the next several months?
Oh,
Yeah, we'll have.
So we have 191 now, that would put us at 160. We have 139 in a
39,
unit
okay.
today. So we already have 21 available, and we lose, I would say, probably 1 to 2 a month
Okay.
where we have vouchers available. They may port to another city, or some are deceased, or they, other reasons.
So there's
for
a
that.
buffer, okay.
Kevin?
Just real quick, so if we do the vouchers to Prescott, that doesn't mean if we don't come across a veteran, homeless veteran in Mesa, that we can't work with a navigator to get them into Prescott.
Right.
So we'd still have that opportunity, even though we wouldn't have the voucher in hand, we would still have the opportunity to get them into some type of transitional housing.
Right.
Pretty quick.
As a reminder, they go through the, I just went blank. They go through the, oh gosh, I'm sorry. But they're processed, and at that time, they find out what level of housing do they need. So then they say, well, Mesa has vouchers available, Phoenix has vouchers available, or Prescott has vouchers available, and they'll get them to the location that has the most vouchers, and there's always vouchers available.
Okay, so
We
just
hope
by-
not, we'd love to be to the top.
Right, so just by happenstance, if we do run out of vouchers for housing
always
veterans,
somewhere
we're
else.
still going to find some place for them to be.
Absolutely.
Perfect, thank you.
So, Mary, you mentioned that there was an increase in the number of referrals for VASH vouchers this year. We went from 14 to 41, I think.
41,
What do you attribute that to? Do you know where those were coming from?
There has been a regional effort, regionally, to get more referrals, to make sure that the housing authorities are getting the referrals to get them housed. And so I think there's been more outreach. And then there's also, they have been in transitional. Some of them may need that transitional when they first come off the streets, that maybe they need that medical care. And then they're at a point in their life that they can go with the VASH and be more independent living.
Well, I'm supportive of the transfer. We've always had more capacity than we've been able to use, and this is in spite of the great efforts of your office and the city in reaching out, looking to IGOs with neighboring communities, saying, please send, we're happy to process those applications in Mesa. So I think in spite of the best efforts to utilize these vouchers, we've just gotten more than then we're able to use. So the important thing is utilization. I think we actually, the VA and federal authorities look disfavorably on us having vouchers not being used. So this might actually be good for us to get more utilization.
Okay. And as a reminder, this is just preliminary. We would let our local HUD representative know that we are supportive of giving possibly 31 back to HUD to reallocate to Prescott or Arizona Department of Housing, but then they have to go to the national headquarters, HUD headquarters, to get everything finalized. So once they tell us yes, they're going to do that, then I'll have to come back and have you guys finalize the approval for that. Okay?
Okay.
So I think that's it with the utilization. You can see, one thing I wanted to mention is that you can see our funding, the red line, it keeps going up. And there's a couple factors for that. The market rents right now are pretty high, and they have increased and increased. We're seeing $200 to $300 rent increases for 2, 3, and 4 bedroom units for the year. And they're getting up to that fair market rent is finally catching up to the market. So that's why our rents look so high on this chart as well, because we're seeing that continually go up. And one thing with that is it shows that we've spent over 100% of what's been allocated to us. We had a little bit of reserve here in our office locally with the city from last year, and then we also have some HUD-held reserves for our HAP that we can go ask them for more. So that's why we're over the 100% on that, okay? This next one, this will be real quick. We get over $1 million in admin fee. That utilization is so important. By our utilization, for every unit leased, we get an admin fee amount for that. So we got $1.1 million this year in admin fee, and our forecast is that we'll spend right under $1 million. So a little bit of savings. Staff works really hard on trying to streamline processes and keep us under budget there. So we think we'll be 86, maybe 90% by the end of this calendar year on our admin fee. You can see 86% of the admin fee is for personal services. It's for our salaries, and we do have some temps come in periodically to help us with special projects. So what happened in 2019, we talked about the family unification vouchers and the mainstream vouchers. We've worked real hard this year to get those rolling. We have a great relationship with Department of Child Safety. One thing I forgot to mention before is in our Arizona NARO conference, the Department of Child Safety and one of our family unification participants were highlighted and awarded an award for that, and I thought that was great recognition for Mesa to have that. We had the FSS graduation, Family Self-Sufficiency graduation, November 15th. We had 7 graduates this year. We had 6 attend that night. It was a great night, a wonderful night. Gary was one of our graduates for our FSS program. We had a total of $72,000 in escrow that went out to those 7 graduates. And so that's great accomplishments for them. So I wanted to highlight that. I thought that was a real great thing this year. And then our iHome program, Increasing Housing Opportunities in Mesa, that is our grant that we apply for with the Salt River Pima, a gaming grant that we use for our landlord incentives. This year, we assisted 30 participants with application fees. We paid for vacancy payments. We're trying to outreach to landlords so we can try to retain them. So it's gone well, not as well as we thought. So that brings us to our 2020 goals. And we have a staff person that is dedicated to be our landlord support. And with that, she's going to outreach to landlords talk to them about our iHome program, whether they're our current landlords or our new landlords. Let them know, build those relationships. Let them know that if they're willing to lease to our participants, we can help 7 days of vacancy payments so they can turn that unit and get another voucher holder in there. Educate them on our program, educate them about, they can go onto the portal and learn those things. So she's gonna be out in the community to the landlords, working with them to try to recruit, retain the landlords we have. Another thing that has been really high on our radar this year, and we're gonna really push forward with that, is our customer service. You might notice that on Wednesdays, we're pretty busy. We call it Walk-In Wednesday. Staff is available for anyone that walks in the door to go up and assist them and help them with their needs. And that's when we have applicants that are pulled from the waiting list come in to turn in their paperwork. So we're going to continue to increase our customer service and try to streamline, have more things on the webpage for them to do where they can email them or fax them to us and try to help with that. That's our presentation for today. We will be back in March to bring our annual plan and admin plan.
Barry, why don't you give an update on what's really keeping you busy right now?
This weekend, Housing and Animal Control, our department is moving to South Center where Parks and Rec was in Building 1. So Housing and Animal Control will be moving this weekend. So we've been crazy. Don't come to the second floor. It's chaos. We'll be moving down there and opening to the public on Wednesday, but we will have staff here Monday and Tuesday to help those that come into the office. And then the balance of our department, community services, neighborhood outreach, community revitalization, diversity office will all move next weekend. So you will miss us in the building. So we're excited to be down there. The office looks great. They're still working on it. I keep sending emails, but we'll be ready to go.
Great. That seems like a good move. I mean, you're very open to the public there, and rather than shuffling people up an elevator in an office building, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, please, Gary.
I really don't like housing and animal control considered the same department.
Okay.
Thank you.
Point well taken. Customer service, yes.
It does bring up a good point. Are we gonna have security at that facility, Chris? Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Mary. Great presentation. So there's no action item here because we're
No
waiting to
action
see,
item.
but I think you got the consensus of the support for the VASH voucher program.
Yes.
All right, thank you. That is the last item on our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting? Thank you, Mr. Luna and Mr. Thompson. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.